Oh, there's a surprise. You've messed up. Hello? Audio work. Come on, James. Join the party. Hello and welcome to Rapid Pixel Racing's GP2. We are at round 15 and we are in Brazil tonight. I should be joined shortly by DXC James L or Toto Nation on Twitch, who will be my co-commentator if he ever turns up. He's in the lobby, so he should be here soon. I will put the link to his stream in the chat now, so you can go and check out the stream from his point of view when he goes live. As I say, we are round 15 and we are at Brazil. I'll chuck the standings up as we wait for the drivers to make their way out onto track with full qualifying again tonight. So Moyland currently has the lead in the standings over Johnny Stokes. Frenzy picking up third place. Lister close behind in fourth, followed by Wumax, Pedro, Evan, Vader, Hobo, Ashwin, Lulu, Decky, Matty, Island Boy, Zodak, Mrs. Carl or Mrs. Moyland, depending which stream you're used to watching, Hepburn, Scarito, Flea and Rocketman. In the constructors standing, Alpine are currently out in front, Aston Martin holding on to second place, but Red Bull close behind as well. Mercedes are taking fourth place, Alfa Romeo in fifth, Haas in sixth, Ferrari in seventh, Williams in eighth, AlphaTauri in ninth, and 10th place currently sits with McLaren. So no one yet making a move onto site. You've got, thank you Ryan for the update. We have dry race and dry quali. Sorry, I decided to impersonate Jonathan Wass there for a moment. So we have Evan and Island Boy making their way out onto track through one of the worst pit exits on the calendar. It's bumpy as hell and will throw you into the barrier and break your wing before you even get onto track. So Frenzy doing a frenzy and retiring in the pits. Wonder if James has gone to get food and that's why he's not tagging along. Both Evan and Island Boy, or Kyle, on the full wet tyre. Trying to take advantage of the fact there are only 15 drivers in this session, so everyone, as long as they don't stack it into a wall. Lulu, I'm talking to you there. Do not put it in a wall and you will be alright to make it through to Q2. And now that completely goes out the window as WooMax joins and gives us 15 drivers, but with Frenzy already having retired in the pits. As Frenzy does. Everyone who wants to get through to Q2 will be. As Evan loses it on those lovely warm wet tyres. You think with all that extra grip he's got, he'd be able to make it through. And Island Boy, or Kyle, has put it into the wall of the pit exit barrier, so he will not be taking part in Q2. So everyone else just needs to take it steady. Oh, Evan again losing it under traction with that wet tyre. Lulu playing the semi-safe role and going on the inters. Lulu loves the semi. Wait, no, Chloe loves the semi on her OnlyFans. Oh, did I just say that on stream? If you're listening, Chloe, I doubt you will. But I do apologise, it's a bit of a stand-in joke. It's probably a poor taste joke as well. So Zodak opens our lap timings up with a 1:10.9 to take provisional pole in this session. Evan coming round to complete his lap, a 1:34. Hobo has invalidated. This is Cole coming out on the inters. As we see Evan go very wide. So Lulu done a 1:15 on the inters. Is anyone actually going to set a lap on proper tyres? So Zodak's lap was on the softs. Hobo is on the softs. Lister out on the softs, finishing his out lap. We'll ride on board with Lister, see what he's got to offer. Normally carries an awful lot of pace through these races. Rides the curb there in turn one. Kicks the back end out. It's going to compromise his time. He's already off the ERS. So just a sight a lap for Lister. Sodak and Lulu retiring in the pits. That's what we like to see. Get your time on, get back in the pits, just retire so we can progress to Q2. Everyone will be through. Unless you want the practice, there's no need to push too hard in this lap. Lister, purple purple sector 2 there. ERS back in deployment, does a 110.8, enough to take in provisional pole, but looks to be going for that second run. We'll see at the end of sector 1 how much improvement he can make there. He's taken over a second off through sector 1, so that's going to put him firmly in the 109s, possibly even into the 108s, depending how he progresses through sector 2. Yeah, that won't be a 108. Sector 2 there, biting him and causing a spin. This is one track where if you spin off in certain sections, it will throw you back onto track with an auto reset to track, which during qualifying, not necessarily the end of the world, unless it does unfortunately chuck you right on in front of someone who is on the lap. But during the race, it can cause absolute chaos. But Hobo has jumped to the top of the standings with the 110.4. As Lister invalidates through the end of sector 3, which invalidates the entirety of his next lap as well. Hobo into the pits, obviously happy with his 110.4. What else we got? Mrs. Cole, a 121, safely through in 7th place at the moment. Ludifer done a 111.6. I'd say possibly trying to get some heat into those sides, but I've got no idea, because even in onboard view we just get told they're all at minus 45 degrees. So we'll stay on board with our Ludifer, one of our reserve drivers, also a full-time GP1 driver, was a full-time GP2 driver, dropped back to reserve at the start of this season. So 10th up on his time through sector 1. That's a purple sector 1. So obviously looking here to try and set the benchmark nice and high before we make our way into Q2. Soft tyre around Brazil not lasting very long, and depending which route you go with your setup, medium tyre is the preferred tyre just in terms of traction and drivability. The hard tyre, when we ran this Monday in GP1, was horrendous. So Lister's retired in the pits. Our Ludifer coming through, crosses the line, a 110.5, taking him into 2nd place. So a good time there from our Ludifer, but I know he's got more pace in him than that. He's doing mid to early 109s on Monday. What's up, John? That's an Alpine behind. Yeah, that is Moyland. Out on the inters, because you know you need loads of softs for these races when the softs don't last. But we will see how he gets on the inters. I know this is not one of Moyland's favoured tracks. But I also know the Alpine car in this game handles completely differently to the Williams. As Womax pops in a 109.6 to take provisional pole in this session. And now just coming through the last couple of corners, a 111.6 taking him up into 6th place. And safely through into Q2. That Alpine, hopefully he'll confirm it in one way or another. Definitely handles differently to the Mercedes that Moylan drives on a Monday in GP1. Definitely handles differently to the Williams I drive on a Monday. A couple of races I've done in the Alpine, it's a lot more agile. Even with identical setup and with the fact it's supposed to be equal cars. So performance wise the cars are equal, but handling wise there are definitely differences between these cars. Who else have we got on the lap? Connie Stokes on the Inters as well. Let's see what he can do in comparison to Moyland. These two are very closely matched in terms of pace. Be interesting to see on technically the wrong tyre for the conditions how close they are. It's coming through the end of sector 3 now. DRS open, short line run a 1:13.4. So if that pace transferred over to the dry tyre, be quite an interesting race. I've messaged my co-commentator, he's currently on the phone, so he'll be joining us shortly. So Johnny's done his lap. Scotty's done a 1:34.9 on the softs, but is well up on that time as he goes to find the respawn point. Don't get it beat. I hate that audio bug. Really wish Cody's would sort that out. Spectator view on board, the constant redlining. So even with that spin, Scotty takes 10 seconds out of his best time, taking him up into 11th. Has he got the fuel for it? No. So Decky now on his outlap. Mrs. Cole has opted to take a run on the softs. So let's see how much Mrs. Cole can take out of her time in comparison to an Inter's lap. I've not seen Mrs. Cole for a couple of weeks as she decided it was better to go on holiday with the husband and kids than not take the PlayStation with them. Just no dedication from some of these drivers. I'd be setting up remote play and everything to try and do the race if I went on holiday. Admittedly, at the same time, I'd also be looking for a good divorce lawyer because my missus would kill me. So purple sector 2 for Mrs. Carl. Let's see what this translates to. As he comes to the line, keeping it tight to the barrier of 110.8, taking her up into 5th place. So comfortably through there. So let's take it easy now, Mrs. Carl. Work your way back to the pits. That's Al Ludifer. Has gone out for another lap. See if we can find some improvement as we come to the end of sector 1. Maybe a second down, but I don't think the RS is deployed. There we see the flashy light telltale sign. Audio sounding like when I tried to teach someone how to drive a manual for the first time there. Just, if you can't find it, grind it. Well held spin there, keeping it out of the barrier. Straight to the line, please, Al Ludifer, otherwise we've got to wait for, that's it, your pit crew to decide to put their cup of tea down. So just Decky now. Straight to the line, please, Decky. No, to the line. And now we've got to wait for the Ferrari pit crew to service your car and roll it in. Oh no, you've retired, that's fine. That'll speed it along. No, we are waiting for the Ferrari pit crew to put their pizza down and roll it in. So there we go. Confirmation of the standings at the end of Q1. Womax on provisional pole. Hobo in 2nd, Al Ludifer in 3rd, Lister in 4th, Mrs. Carl in 5th, Zodak in 6th, Moyland in 7th, Decky in 8th, Matty in 9th, Johnny Stokes in 10th. I better hurry up with this. 11th was Lulu, 12th was Scotty, Evan in 13th, Frenzy in 14th, and Island Boy in 15th. So we will be saying goodbye to Island Boy there. I believe we will still have 15, so I expect to see Frenzy retire at the start of this session. As the drivers now starting to make their way out for Q2. Mrs. Carl leading out the pack. Got the Alfa Romeo of Evan, Ferrari of Scotty. See the Red Bull of Lister on the track map. Hobo also coming out, and we have one of the Aston Martins, and that is Johnny Stokes. We will drop back and stay on board with Mrs. Cole. See how she gets on. Open these laps. There we go. Frenzy retiring as we knew he would. Surprised Evans stayed as close as he has to Mrs. Cole, because he'll pick up some of the dirty air as they go through the midfield section. But Mrs. Cole now opening up her lap nicely through turn 1, cuts 2 beautifully, clips the apex of 3 nicely. Now the run down to turn 4. Alpha Tauri on its way out of the pits. Will need to be aware of the cars coming past that are on their lap. Looks to have not caused any hold up. This is Carl now entering the midfield section. Tauri keeping out of the way there. See on the track map of the Red Bull of Lister. Penultimate braking point there for Mrs. Cole. Now drop it down to the last big braking point. Unfortunately loses the rear end there, sends it into the infield. Evan has invalidated that lap, so Scotty's invalidated. Lister will be the one to open our timings here then. So he makes a run up the hill to the start finish line, taking the shortest run to the line, opens us up with a 109.5. I'm just trying to work out who behind is on a lap. This is Carl into the pits. So that'll be Johnny Stokes next to come across the line. And improves over Lister, a 108.6, so 9/10 faster than Lister there to take provisional pole in this session. Hobo picking up a 110.1, taking him currently into 3rd place. Drop back to Aludifer, see what he's got to offer. Crosses the line, a 109.625. Less than a 10th off of Lister's pace there, so a great time from Aludifer there, taking him into 3rd. Womack's a 110.11, taking him into 4th, and Matty a 110.2, taking him into 7th place. Evan does a 109.2, taking 2nd place. Lister is going round again without the ERS. Listen, you've not got ERS on, mate. You're just killing your tyres now. Moylan does a very pedestrian 126. Guessing he stopped to buy a dodgy Rolex. Lulu is on track and starting his lap, so we'll stick on board with Lulu, see how well he gets on. A 17.2 through sector 1. As he runs through the infield section now. Ignore the on-screen display of his tyre temps, as we know that's absolute crap following that last update, so we lose the ability to know, especially under safety car, how people are getting on with keeping their tyre temps under control to give us a gauge for how the restarts are going to go. There's Lulu now coming through the final couple of corners, opting for that shortest run to the line. A 110.7 for Lulu takes him into 9th place. Moyland improved on his previous lap with a 114, Still holding him in 10th, but I know he had no ERS on that lap. Purple sector 1 on this lap. So we'll stay on board with Moylan now, see how he progresses through the lap. See if the commentator's curse will bite again. There it is. That was the commentator's curse. Big moment there, but managed to hold it well. Through, it's not the final corner, but it might as well be the final corner because this is just a flat out sprint up the hill and to the line. This lap was compromised in terms of his exit there. A 109.0 though, taking him into second. 4/10 off of Johnny Stokes, but that was fairly easily to be found, keeping things under control on the exit in the middle. As Zodak, did my eyes deceive me there? Is Zodak, oh come on, don't give me an onboard camera, give me a spectator view. It looked like his front left tyre was, well, wheel was, yep. Zodak has opted to take a tether line to the inside of the track. Watch out, any marshals that are around. Zodak's going to cut you in half. So 3 wheels on his motor, but still running round. Getting into the pits. Taking out everyone stood on the left hand side. That's skills though. If AlphaTauri can get that wheel repaired in the 6 minutes left in this session. Evans currently 8/10 up. Sorry, 8/10 down. Now pushing on the run to the line. I'm guessing that was a prep lap. 1:10.1, so yeah. No, it was a 1:10.1, so 9/10 down on that previous lap. Pushing now as we go through turn 3. DRS open as we run down to turn 4. Corner where it's easy to pick up an invalidation or track limits warning. Need to get my track map back up. For some reason that's disappeared. Is it? There we are. Evan now into turn 12 and the run to the start finish straight. Crosses the line, a 109.2 there, 3/10 off of his previous time, but then loses it through turn 1. No one coming behind him, so no danger of off-putting anyone with his spin round to get back onto track. As we jump on board now to Scotty in the Ferrari. No ERS deployment now. Currently sitting on a 109.7 as he makes his way down to turn 4. So down on his time into turn 4. Oh, excuse the yawning. So we'll see how he's getting on. No ERS deployment, so I won't be expecting to see any improvement here as he comes through the end of sector 2. He's not, is over a second down. Is he going for another run? And he's not, he's into the pits. Decky finishing his out lap. Let's drop back to Hobo, currently the driver at risk in this session. So that's Hobo actually just starting his lap. I get a feeling this is going to be Zodak starting his lap. No, he's on a 110.4, still with no front left wheel. Where are the black and orange flags? Ryan, black and orange flag, you need to come into the pits. Your car is not in a safe condition. Lulu improves up into 8th with a 109.9. Zodak scrutineering, weight saving. Your car is going to be underweight. If your car does not find its missing wheel, I will start calling you Del Boy. So Del Boy in 12th. Mrs. Carl just on her way out, currently in 13th place. Rumax now the driver at risk in 10th. Moyland and Lister feeling comfortable on their times, so have retired in the pits. Lister possibly at risk, mid 109. Zodak done a 109.9, sitting in 10th. Behind Matty on a 110.0. Why do I get a feeling this lobby is confused, shall we say? The way that timings board is, that's implying that Zodak has DNF'd. I don't think there's time to actually look properly now, as Johnny Stokes has retired in the pits. Rumax needs to find a couple of tenths here to get himself into realms of getting into Q3. I didn't see what his sector time was there, but it's purple sector 2. So push to the line now from Wumax, taking that short line to the start finish of 109.1, so takes nearly a second out of his time, taking him up into 4th place. Zodak still the driver at risk. Matty now down in 11th. I don't believe he'll be able to improve on this lap, because I think he just had a spin. No, he's definitely not going to improve. Can Hobo find anything in this final sector? The wall. Not entirely sure what I just jumped on board to there. That was Hobo bouncing off of one wall into the other. That was strange. So Mrs. Cole now the last driver needing to find improvement. Follow her through the end of sector 2, looking to find nearly half a second, and is up 6/10. So keep this going through sector 3, Mrs. Cole, and you will find yourself in Q3. Zodak will be watching on nervously now, seeing if Mrs. Cole can improve, and she does, to go to a 109.8. Those times have got to have just messed up, because I swear Zodak was ahead of... Lulu was ahead of Zodak. But that's now showing that Lulu is out of Q2 with a 109.992. Zodak scraping through on the bubble with a 109.985. And to add confusion to the party, Zodak, a 109.985, has been knocked out in Q2 in 10th place. I'm guessing the quality coding of code is registered Zodak as a DNF, but it's not showing on the race director. Or it was an after session disqualification, failure to comply with Parc Ferme, taking a wheel off to save weight. Who knows? So here we are then, Q3 just about to start. So 9 drivers now for the final push for pole position. Let's get the lap data on. Ryan, what happened? Why did you only have 3 wheels? The timing board had you all over the place at times. You had a 109, but you were behind someone with a 110. It's like the game thought you DNF'd when you lost your wheel. Don't know when you lost your wheel. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at Discord. Yeah, this game's quality. That's all I can say. Absolute quality programming from... Okay, so Zodak can see himself driving round the lap in Q3. We can't see Zodak. Oh, I really hope this doesn't bug out and cause absolute chaos for those on laps. You're definitely not showing as on a lap or even in the session for a spectator. The last time I remember seeing an incident where cars disappeared, there ended up being a collision. I think that was in Mexico, actually. That was in the races. Moyland opens our timings up with a 108.5. Lister follows up with a 108.6, and then Johnny Stokes through with a 108.4. So less than 2 tenths separating top 3 at the moment. Scotty on a 109.1. Evan jumps into 4th with a 108.9. Mrs. Cole a 109.7. Al Ludifer a 109.7. Decky just leaving the pits. Womax now the last one to come across, at least on my screen. Who knows what Zodak can see on his screen. So Womax does a 109.4 to take him into 6th place. You could try leaving and rejoining Ryan. I'll ping you another invite now, because I swear I've just seen you leave the session, but I don't know if that will help or not. But I'd say if it does allow you to take control of your AI car, just come into the pits at the end of, or during Q3 and retire it, because something weird's gone on there, mate. So as everyone is making their way back into the pits, as Zodak does rejoin the session, so we'll follow Decky through as he starts his time lap now. So through turn 1, 2, the long left-hander of turn 3. Nicely on the apex there. DRS open on the run down to turn 4 now. Purple sector 1, a 17.1. Great opening sector for Decky there. Through 5 and 6 into turn 7 now. Heavy braking for turn 8. Power right, feather it through turn 9 and then flat out run towards turn 10. Back on the brakes. Get the car rotated, bring it through and run out wide on the exit of 11 to set your braking up. Purple sector 2 there for Decky. Now just a long drag up the hill. DRS open. Doesn't go for the shortest run to the line, but crosses the line, a 108.7 taking him into 4th place. Great lap there from Decky, as the rest of the grid are now on their out laps. Moyland out at the front of the queue again, so we'll stay on board with Moyland to see if he can improve to find that 10th he needs to come Johnny Stokes. Yeah, this game's messed up, right? At least it's not showing a random ghost car on track for you. So Moyland 600s up through sector 1. Take him on a 852. Still needing to find the 10th. Can he find it through sector 2? We will find out in a moment. He's got an Alfa Romeo in front, but keeps nicely out of the way for him. Need to return the favour as well for the Red Bull that's fast approaching. So Moyland 3/10 up through sector 2, so this should, if he can hold it through sector 3, put him on a 108.2. Shortest run to the line, a 108.1 from Moyland there to snatch provisional pole, followed closely by Lister on a 108.3, taking 2nd place. Johnny Stokes just coming into sector 3 now, currently a 10th and a half up, 2/10 up on his time. Going to secure him 2nd place. Can he find anything through sector 3? There's not really much of sector 3 other than the flat out, but he does find another 10th there, a 108.0 from Johnny Stokes, taking him on to provisional pole. I'm wondering if Evan lost out a little there, having to allow those drivers on their hot lap through. I'd say he did, because he's half a second down. He's turned his ERS off, so he must be going just for a secondary prep lap here. Try and push at the end to try and find his ultimate time. As Womack starts his final time lap. Currently 300ths down on his current lap. Needs to find 3/10 to try and jump Scotty, but it is possible Scotty will be going out at any moment to try and get that final lap in. We max out our Ludifer a little bit out of sequence with the rest of the drivers. Ludifer, I believe, just going to start a lap now, as Womax has found 3/10 in the middle sector there. So there's a final couple of corners now. Taking the short run to the start finish line, crosses the line, a 108.9, taking him up into 6th. Al Ludifer, the only other driver on track at the minute, as the rest of the grid start making their way out of the pit lane. See how Al Ludifer's doing through the end of sector 2. We've got a yellow at the start of sector 2, which I believe was the Red Bull of Lister. So Al Ludifer half a second up on his time. Current lap time. Can he find any more in the final sector as well? This will jump him in front of Mrs. Cole, but can he find enough to jump Scotty as well? Crosses the line, a 109.3. So lost a little bit of time there in the final sector, but does take him into 8th place. Mrs. Cole still in the pit, so won't be improving on their lap. Rumax coming to the end of his lap. I believe Lister is the first of the drivers to start their final push time lap. So we'll stay with Lister and then try and work our way through the grid at the end of the lap. See how Lister's doing as he comes to the end of sector 1. Currently 400ths down on his personal best. Can he find anything through sector 2? Moyland invalidated, so won't be improving. Johnny Stokes 5/10 down. Lister has invalidated. Evan has invalidated. Decky's invalidated. I believe Scotty now is the only one not to have invalidated on their current lap. So we'll see how Scotty's doing as we come to the end of sector 2. 3/10 up on his time. That's going to take him into at least 6th place. Can he find any more on the run to the line through sector 3? Lister peels off into the pit. Scotty holding it tight for that short run to the line. A 108.7 from Scotty does take him into 6th place. Oh, just 11 thousandths off of Decky for 5th place. I swear I just see a car parked in the wall there. So there is your starting grid for the race. Johnny Stokes will take pole. Moyland will line up in second. Lister in third. Evan in fourth. Decky in fifth. Scotty in sixth. Womax in seventh. Al Ludifer in eighth. And Mrs. Carl in ninth place. Lubrication required. So now we wait for the drivers to set their strats for the race. And then line up to begin their formation laps. Looking a tad cloudy. Is the game going to throw a bit of a weather aspect into this, or will it remain dry as it did say at the beginning? So let's take a opportunity to look at the tyre options. Johnny Stokes on the mediums, Moyland on the hards, Lister going for the softs. I wonder if that was a mistake, gambling on getting track position and an early safety car. Evan down to Al Ludifer in 8th, all on the mediums. Mrs. Carl and Zodak on the hards. Lulu, Matty, Hobo on the mediums. Frenzy and Island Boy on the hards. So, different tyre strategies out in front. Wait and see how it pays off in the race. I'd expect to see Lister putting Moyland and Johnny Stokes under pressure off at the start there with the soft tyre. We'll wait and see how that plays out. So everyone now getting ready to line back up on the track in their grid boxes. Let's see who can actually park it on the grid box properly, if we're going to have anyone disqualified. So Decky not making it, Zodak not making it, and Island Boy not making it. Sounds like we are. And there we are, lights out, and it's go, go, go. Eventually we get to see the cars move off the grid. Lister with a very aggressive start, getting alongside Moylan there, but Moylan managing to hold him off as they drop down into turn 3. Lister right on the back of Moylan now, taking full advantage of that soft tyre. Looks like everyone has made it through the start phase without incident though. So Lister has hopped in front of Moylan, but Moylan not looking to give that place up. As the tyre strategy pops up, so looking at lap 16 for those starting on the mediums to swap to the hards. Lister on the softs, predicted stop of lap 8, swapping on to the mediums. Fairly sure we'll see Lister swap on to the hards first, unless of course there is an early safety car. And Hobo has gone round on turn 12. I don't know, my track map's disappeared again, but has managed to get it going and hasn't dropped too far off the back of the pack. Moylan's starting to drop back from Lister quite substantially now. Lister going for the move and has the speed over Johnny Stokes into turn 4 there, or before turn 4 even. So Lister definitely pushing on those soft tyres to try and get the advantage on track. He needs to open up quite a decent gap here, otherwise he is going to lose out through the pit stops. The rest of the pack fairly close together, all the way down to 9th place. Zodak in 10th is dropping back from Womax and has Lewis for company on the medium tyre. Johnny Stokes holding on to the back of Lister as they come round now the end of lap 2, so DRS will be available this lap. Johnny Stokes well within the DRS of Lister, and Moylan also, well, there's a bit of a DRS train forming there all the way down to 10th place. And Johnny close in. He does close in slightly, but not enough to take advantage into turn 4 as Womax finds his way past DXT Matty. No, Lulu. It might have been Matty. Matty might have had a moment there. He's dropped all the way back to 14th place. As Moylan gets it squirrely coming out of turn 10 there. Manages to keep it pointing the right way. Dropped him back a couple of tenths on Johnny Stokes, so Johnny tries to hold on to the back of Lister. Gap now at 5 tenths. Johnny is closing a couple of tenths on the DRS straight. Zodak and Lulu battle it out. Mrs. Cole fighting her way past Frenzy. Frenzy not wanting to give it up though, hanging on around the outside of turn 3. Side by side on the run down to turn 4. Frenzy using the DRS advantage there to get back in front of Mrs. Cole. Got the yellow flag in sector 1. That's Hobo round on the exit of turn 3. Hobo not having a great race at the moment. And Lulu's round. Lulu's round on the exit of turn 8 there. That's dropped him down all the way to 14th place. As we go back to this battle at the front, it's DRS train, Johnny Stokes. Closer than I've seen him before, going looking to the inside of Lister. Now up the inside into turn 1. Gets the move done, but can Lister fight it back? Lister's trying to hold on, but now got Moylan on the attack as well. Moyland will have the DRS. Lister also gets the DRS on Johnny Stokes and goes down the inside into turn 4. They're side by side here. On the exit, Lister's made it through and Moyland has taken full advantage there to find his way through, but Johnny Stokes with the inside into turn 5 takes that position back as Evan gets a little bit of contact with the back of Moyland there. Sends Moyland wide, but he manages to get it back on track. Evan allowing that move to be given back to Moyland. That has dropped Moyland out of the DRS of Johnny Stokes now, which I think may hurt him as they take the run up to the start-finish straight. Johnny Stokes will get the DRS on Lister again. Moyland not with that DRS. That's going to put him under pressure from Evan behind. Now through turn 1, Johnny Stokes a bit further back from Lister this time around. Moyland's trying to close back in to get into the DRS to get that toe along the final straight. Try and get these hard tyres to go as long as possible. He needs to tag on the back of Johnny Stokes and get pulled along with the DRS. Johnny Stokes getting ever closer into Lister as they go round turn 11 now on the drop down to turn 12. DRS is just on the exit of 13, or the detection zone is here. Looks like Moyland's managed to get back in the detection zone of Johnny Stokes. Wait to see, he has. He's got the DRS open there. It's going to help him close that gap back up. Johnny Stokes getting ever closer to Lister as they go through turn 1 and 2. Lister trying to hold off as long as possible. Those softs must be screaming by now. Johnny Stokes up the inside on the run down into turn 4, side by side with Lister. And that's Lister round. I didn't see any contact between them there, but the camera angle was horrendous, so I couldn't say. But that's dropped Lister all the way down into 8th place. So Johnny Stokes takes the lead after that spin from Lister. Moyland into 2nd within the DRS of Johnny Stokes. So if you can just hold on, Johnny won't have the DRS to pull away from Lister anymore. So Johnny should be, Moyland should be able to hold on to the back of Johnny. But Evan, Decky, Scotty all still in that DRS, and Al Ludifer up into 6th place as well from the start. A little bit further back outside the DRS, but clear of Womax at the moment. And many other close battles. Island Boy close on the back of Matty as we run down towards turn 1. This is another little DRS train between Mrs. Cole, Matty and Island Boy. Here's Matty as we look back from Matty's car to Island Boy, when what we really want to see is the gap in front. So Island Boy gets very squirrely there coming out of turn 4, but manages to keep it out of the barrier. Keeps out of the way as Lulu as he rejoins. Johnny Stokes starting to open that gap now to Moyland. I think Moyland will miss out on the DRS this time around. Oh, he managed to keep within it. Using that to pull him into Johnny Stokes still. Moyland with the DRS advantage now. ERS advantage. Gets the DRS down the run to turn 4. Needs to keep the pressure up on Johnny here. Johnny's light flashing, indicating he's below 20% ERS. That will be music to Moylan's ears. Decky now some 2 seconds back, but under pressure from his stand-in teammate Scotty. Lister still on those soft tyres. Still holding on to 8th. He's got a clear gap behind him to Frenzy. And about the same size gap to Evan in front of him. Why did that look like more? What? We've got a safety car. And I'm guessing the Delta has gone absolutely horrendous. The safety car is for Hobo. So Johnny Stokes taking the opportunity to dive into the pits along with Decky, Scotty, Womax. Womax picking up a penalty there on the entry to the pits. Scotty getting held in the pits, waiting for his teammate to be serviced. Lister into the pits as well. So Moylan takes over the lead of the race. Hobo, if you're watching, what happened, mate? So now behind the safety car, Moylan up into first. Al Ludifer sitting in second on track at the moment. Frenzy in third. Zodak up into fourth. Johnny Stokes down in fifth. Mrs. Carl in sixth. Decky in seventh. Womax in eighth. Scotty in ninth. Evan in 10th. Island Boy in 11th. Lister in 12th. Matty in 13th. And Lulu in 14th. So the first on track who stopped is Johnny Stokes, currently in 5th. Mrs. Cole yet to stop. Decky, Womax, Scotty, Evan all stopped once. Island Boy yet to stop. Lister, Matty and Lulu have also stopped. So this certainly throws an interesting mix now. With those yet to stop, everyone with the exception of Al Ludifer is on the hard tyre. So Al Ludifer trying to push that medium an extra bit longer. Take advantage of the safety car to extend the life a little bit more. So as we get towards the back phase of the race, the hard tyres, I assume he's going to go for the hard tyre. It will be that little bit fresher than those of the drivers who've already stopped. Going to be looking to try and take advantage on the restart of the better traction. Potentially the medium will have over the hard. Although I'd say the hard tyre now is at the point where it should be in a better condition than the medium at the same age. Safety car not in this lap. See if the safety car will be in this lap. We're just waiting for Lulu to catch up to the back of the pack. Womax has opted to go onto the soft tyre. Won't see him through to the end of the race, so he will definitely be stopping again. We did see the pace that Lister had in the initial couple of laps from the opening phase. Definitely a pace advantage to the soft tyre. It's how long you can hold on to that tyre. So, race control, safety car in this lap. So now Moyland has to decide when to launch. So as the pack all starts to back up, I'm going to drop back and watch from Al Ludifer to see if he gets caught out, and it does unfortunately look like Moyland managed to catch Al Ludifer out. He's opened up second advantage as they cross the line. Johnny Stokes gets the move done on Zodak, straight away clearing one of those cars who are yet to stop as he tries to make his way back through the order, keeping Moylan in as close contact as possible. So Frenzy on the back. Oh, yeah. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by my yawn, Frenzy on the back of Al Ludifer as they go through the midfield section. Al Ludifer looks to be struggling a little on those worn mediums. Johnny Stokes is right on the back of Frenzy as well. He'll be wanting to make his way past this pair as quickly as possible. Frenzy looking down the inside into turn one on Al Ludifer, but Al Ludifer has that covered off. As they go through 2 and 3, Frenzy has to drop in behind. Now looking to go around the outside as they run down to turn 4. Al Ludifer covers off Johnny Stokes. Frenzy has made that pass as Womax is making his way past Mrs. Cole. Runs out of road and allows Evan through as well. Now Lister up the inside of Mrs. Cole. A little bit of wheel banging there. Mrs. Cole defending with everything she's got. Scotty now trying to find a way past. Able to do anything at the minute. Al Ludifer still holding on to the back of Frenzy, starting to drop back a little now. I think those medium tyres are well past their best. Johnny Stokes going around the outside down the start finish straight will put him on the outside into turn 1. He's got a nose in front and gets the inside for turn 2 and gets that move done nice and cleanly. So that's Johnny Stokes up into third. Moylan still out in front with the 2.6 second advantage over Frenzy. Al Ludifer now starting to come under attack from Zodak behind, managing to hold the DRS gap at the moment. Mrs. Cole still holding off Scotty. Scotty on the fresher hard tyres as Womax makes a move around the outside of Zodak, taking him up into 5th place. Zodak now under attack as well from Decky and Evan. No, that's that's Al Ludifer round. No! From 3rd place and Mrs. Carl as well, both on the exit of turn 12. Oh, that's unfortunate. Doing so well holding on up there. Al Ludifer now coming under attack from DXT Matty. Matty goes round the outside into turn 1. Gets the move done, and Al-Ludafer then loses it on the exit of turn 2. I think those tyres are absolutely cooked. Mrs. Cole finding her way past her teammate there. While that's happening though, Johnny Stokes still not able to find a way past Frenzy. Expect Johnny's hards to be coming. So well, we'll ignore the complete innuendo there. Expect his tyres to be coming into their best now, as he does make a move up the inside of Frenzy into turn 1 and gets that move done. He's now got a 3-second gap to close down on Moyland. Moyland yet to stop though, so Johnny effectively the leader of this race, albeit not on track at the moment. Oh, stop yawning. Ugh. So Lister on his recovery, trying to close into Decky. It's within the DRS. Can he find a way through on the exit of turn 12 and the run up to the start finish straight? Decky seeming to have better traction through the exit of turn 10 and 11 there. Lister is starting to close now with the DRS. It's taken 3/10 out of that deficit to Decky, nearly 4/10 out of that deficit. Is hammering the ERS to close that gap. Now on the run to turn 4, can he find anything? Decky outside the DRS, so doesn't get the DRS advantage to help defend as he's outside that range from Womax. Johnny Stokes steadily closing in the gap to Moyland out in front. Frenzy still hanging on to the back of Johnny for the DRS at the moment, but starting to drop back. Scotty now is cleared. Mrs. Carl, after Mrs. Carl's spin, is right on the back of Evan as they take the run out of turn 12 and now up the hill. DRS open. Evan will be getting the DRS off of Lister though, which will help him defend on this run into turn 1. Lister has... oh, that's because Womax has pitted. So I get all excited for a pass and it's because someone's come in the pits. So Decky now leading a DRS train that runs all the way back to 7th place. So it's a 4-car battle for 4th at the minute. Johnny Stokes still slowly closing in on Moyland out in front. Frenzy starting to drop off. About a 10th a lap now from Johnny Stokes, but Frenzy and Moyland still needing to pit. Zodak also in 8th, and Island Boy and Mrs. Cole all still needing to come into the pits, as well as Al-Ludafer, who's currently on 18 lap old mediums. Is he trying to push these long enough to go for the soft towards the end? If he is, he's going to be hoping for a safety car around about lap 27, 28. Not sure if he'd be able to get those mediums all the way to lap 28 though. Ronnie's still working his way into that deficit to Moyland, but Moyland, as I say, has still got a pit. So he's going to lose about 20 seconds in the pits, which is going to drop him quite a way down this grid. Everyone stayed fairly close together after that safety car restart. This is still trying to close in on Decky as Evan gets a big spin, big slide coming out of turn 11. Manages to hold it facing the right way, but drops him down into 8th place. As Lister does get the move done around the outside of Decky before turn 1. Decky having a little moment there on exit under traction. Is going to put him under pressure from Scotty behind. Both with the DRS though. Decky now outside the DRS zone of Lister. So we won't have the DRS to defend again from Scotty on the run to the start finish straight. This, I think, is one of our closest battles at the minute, although Evan is close on the back of Zodak with Lulu trying to make his way up the order, currently in 9th place. We'll stay with this battle for 5th though, see if Scotty can make it past Decky. Definitely closer this time around. Have the DRS. Decky hasn't got the DRS and his ERS light is flashing. Scotty looking to the outside. Cuts back in, he'll get another shot with the DRS here on the exit of 3. It's the DRS open. Pulls out to go alongside and up the inside on the entry into 4. Does give Scotty 5th place. Decky's still trying to hold on though, doesn't want to give that position up without a fight. Island Boy has been in for his stop now. Opting for the medium tyre, Mrs. Carl as well. Al Ludifer still out on track on that medium tyre. He is pushing this tyre as far as he can. Likewise Moylan holding on out in front, but Johnny is closing. You can see Moylan trying to go for the hard to soft option here. Safety car now would play into Moylan's hands as Decky picks up a 3-second penalty for track limits warnings. Lister starting to close in to Frenzy in front as Scotty and Decky trade places. Zodak now into the pits. Brings him out into 11th, possibly 12th, depending what run Island Boy gets down the straight. No, Zodak has managed to hold on to 11th place. Johnny Stokes now nearly in DRS range of Moyland out in front. As Moyland says, enough is enough and dives into the pits. Gotta be mediums. Where's this going to bring Moyland out? Lister goes through up into 3rd. Moyland's going to be coming out in 8th place behind Lulu. So quite a bit of work for Moyland to do, but on that faster tyre he should be able to work his way through the grid. Weave in there to get some heat into the tyres before you approach that middle sector. So Connie Stokes retakes the lead. Frenzy still yet to pit in second place. Lister sitting in third. Close enough to Frenzy. He'll be taking second when Frenzy does eventually pit. Decky in fourth. Scotty in fifth. Still all over the back of his teammate here. And is our closest battle at the minute as they work their way up the hill towards the start finish straight. DRS open for Scotty, but Decky had opened up another couple of tenths on the run out and up the hill. Scotty not close enough to make a move at the moment. We'll get another helping of the DRS as they run down to turn 4. Closes in by a couple of tenths, but not enough again. As Moylan goes up the inside of Lulu into turn 4 and 5. Gets the move done, so that's one card cleared as Lulu loses it on the exit of 7. Manages to keep it out the wall and get the car going again. Moylan now on the hunt, trying to find his way back through this grid. Find his way back up to those podium places. Lister slowly closing in on Frenzy for second place. See Frenzy still to pit. Al Ludifer still hanging on those mediums. 24 lap old mediums now. They must be destroyed. I think he's definitely trying to push to go onto the soft side. Unfortunately gets on the power a little bit too soon on those warm mediums and loses it coming out of turn 9 and has to wait an awfully long time for the pack to clear before he's able to rejoin the track. I think that's Lulu who's gone through in front of him. He's had another little spin, so he needs to just take it steady as Frenzy is into the pits. Just going to bring him out in 8th place, but he's dragged up those hards long enough. He's gone for the soft, so expect to see Frenzy closing in on those in front. He's got Lulu as his first target. Moylan now up into 6th, trying to close in on Almighty Evan. As Decky unfortunately loses it, does manage to keep it out of the barrier and gets the car going again. That's promoted Moylan up into 5th place. It will now still be chasing down Evan. Decky now under... No, he's not under attack. He's got a Williams behind him that was getting very sideways. Managed to keep it going. That was Mrs. Cole. Al Ludifer has been into the pits. He's got quite a bit of work now to try and catch up to the rest of the pack. Ideally could do with a safety car, as Evan has made a move on Scotty into turn 1, no, turn 4 even. Got that move done. Got Matty round. Let's drop Matty down into 12th place. gap between Lister and Johnny remaining fairly stable. As for some reason when I swear I'd selected Lister there, it was showing me Almighty Evan. But Moylan now all over the back of Scotty as they make the run up the hill. Gets the move done before the DRS activation. So that's Moylan up into 4th place and chasing down Evan. Scotty holding on to the DRS of Moylan, but Moylan with that faster tyre. Fresher tyre will have the pace advantage as he continues his charge back towards the podium. Decky round again, that's allowed Frenzy and Lulu through. Frenzy's got quite a bit of time to try and close up on the back of Scotty. So we look to see as they come through turn 12 now, can Moylan find a way past Evan on the run to turn 1. DRS activated now. Going around the outside as they go past the start finish straight. Moylan has got in front, but can he hold it through turn 1? He can, but Evan will have the DRS. Try and fight back as the wonderful camera angle goes to a backward shot from Evan when he's attacking the car in front. Moylan has got that move done. Can he find anything in these final 6 laps? Very squirrely there. Keeps it under control. Can he do anything to try and close down that gap to Lister? It's got 6 laps and 4.5 seconds to find. Evan and Scotty still holding on to the back of Moylan. This is our closest battle at the minute. So we'll both get the DRS to allow them to hold on to Moylan. Moylan now pulling them along and up to the back of Lister. The gap between Lister and Johnny Stokes is opening every lap as we do have a safety car. Why do we have a safety car? This is going to make it interesting. Decky, Womack, Zodak, Island Boy, Matty, all into the pits. There's Al Ludifer in line with all this lot. Al Ludifer just coming round. Final corner now, opts to stay out. Mrs. Cole, no front wing. Is that why we have the safety car? Coming into the pits. Al Ludifer trying, I'm guessing now, to unlap himself on as many drivers as possible. Johnny Stokes opting to pit. Lister in the pits. Moylan in the pits. Al Ludifer picks up a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. Guessing the Delta turns absolute rubbish for him. So that is everyone into the pit, and then everyone decides, you know, we'll all just come to a complete stop. So, final push for... It's going to be a 2-lap sprint at the end. Definitely brought everything back to life. And now Lucifer has been disqualified from the session. Gotta love this game. Gotta love the programming that goes into this. But we are definitely in for something special now. We're going to have everyone on fresh, soft tyres for a couple of lap sprint at the end. Just waiting for everyone to catch up to the end of that safety car queue. Reminder to any drivers wanting to log any requests for penalty removals. If you want a penalty removal, you need to get a recording of the entire race director, so the stewards can look through and see if any warning removals would be negated by a further warning further into the race. And lap 33 now, still under the safety car. Let's have a quick look at that one. So Johnny Stokes still maintaining that lead from the start. Lister is up 1 place, Moyland has dropped a place, Scotty's up 2 places, Evan down 1 place. Frenzy has gained 8 places, currently sitting in 6th. Lulu up 4 places in 7th. This is a safety car restart, so he may well go round even before we start the next lap. The safety car is in this lap. I'm going to jump on board to Lister, see if Johnny Stokes can catch him out, or Moyland can even get the jump on the restart, as Johnny is leaving this very late to launch. And as he launches, Moyland looks to have got a good reaction there up the inside into turn 1, but Lister holding him off as they run through turn 2 now. Moyland with what looked like a better drive, Lister just closing it off. Side by side nearly into turn 4. Moyland looking to try and get up the inside of Lister. Has the inside move done, but that puts him on the outside for 5. Holding on round the outside as they go through 6. Side by side, wheel to wheel. The gap there is negligible as Moyland's round. Moyland! Lister carries on in 2nd. Evan up into 3rd. Scotty holding on the back in 4th. That's given Johnny Stokes a clear advantage out in front. As they now cross the line to start lap 35. Johnny Stokes out in front, but Moyland closing, Lister closing fast. Evan in 3rd with Scotty holding on. Frenzy up into 5th, trying to close down that gap. Lulu in 6th. Coming under a little bit of pressure from Decky. Womack's in 8th. Island Boy in 9th. Matty in 10th. Moyland currently sitting in 11th and Zodak in 12th. We'll go back to the front. Lister being closed in by Evan. Come through the midfield section. for the penultimate time. Johnny Stokes still holding out a clear advantage over a second gap out in front, but Lister is closing that down. Using the ERS to try and close that gap. Evan coming under pressure from Scotty on the run down to turn 1. Is Scotty going to go for a move? Looks to get a bit squirrely through 2. Johnny Stokes has the ERS advantage to defend with as Evan is round. Oh, Lulu and I didn't see who else that was. But Lulu is out on the final lap. Johnny Stokes still holding out in front, but Lister is trying to close that up. Scotty up into 3rd, under pressure though from Frenzy. Frenzy carrying that penalty though, that's going to hurt him at the end of this race. Moyland up into 7th now. Good bit of recovery there from Moyland. With penalties ahead, this could work out not too bad. Johnny Stokes now crosses the line, takes 1st, Lister in 2nd, Scotty in 3rd, Womax picks up 4th, Frenzy in 5th after the penalty is applied, Moyland in 6th, Island Boy takes 7th, Decky in 8th, Zodak in 9th, Matty takes the final points position in 10th, Evan will come across to pick up 11th place. That was a hell of an end. Hell of an end to the race. Late safety car. Bringing everything into play. Frenzy picks up driver of the day for doing a frenzy. I'm not entirely sure who to give the commentators driver of the day to. Looking down where people started against where they finished. It was quite a mad one. Spinner of the day's got to go to Moyland. Threw away a podium there. Gets the fastest lap, but threw away a podium. Well, I suppose I better do the results. Still confused why Al Ludifer got disqualified as well. But there we go. Our final standings, just to run you through. Johnny Stokes takes the win. Lister in 2nd. Scotty in 3rd. Womax in 4th. Frenzy in 5th. Moyland takes 6th. Island Boy in 7th. Decky in 8th. Zodak in 9th. Matty takes the final points position in 10th. Evan picks up 11th. Lulu classified in 12th. And your non-finishers were Mrs. Carl, Hobo and Al Ludifer. I have been DXC Rob Sim Racer. This has been RPR GP2 round 15 Brazil. I'll be back same time next week for Zandvoort. I'll also be back at 8 o'clock for the TTFL Leagues race, and they are at here calendar. They've just done Zandvoort. They're at Monza next week, so hop along to the stream. And TTFL's always good fun. Monza's always a good track to watch, being such high speed, always good for incidents. But I've been DXC Rob Sim Racer. I'll be back next week. If you've liked what you've heard, drop a follow. It will be appreciated, and I'll see you all next week.